Victor's attack moves forward, Lily changes her mind about Kane. Victor Newman's attack will move forward while Lily Winters changes her mind about Kane Ashby. As the Newmans head home, Matt Clark aka Mitch Bacall will resolve to score some leverage in a way they won't anticipate. After mulling it over, Sienna Bacall will accept Noah Newman's offer of protection in Genoa City. Sienna's decision will leave Sharon Newman on edge, so she'll question Sienna about her true motives when it comes to Noah. AUDRA'S December 9th episode will bring some 20th wedding anniversary surprises for Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, so don't miss all the excitement Michael Baldwin will cook up for her. As for Noah, he'll be taken aback when he runs into Audra Charles. That'll bring an awkward catch-up session for the exes, but Audra may insist she's genuinely glad Noah's okay after his ordeal. Later, Audra will reach an agreement with Holden Novak, so they may finally see that they need to work together. That might be the only way to stop Claire Newman from digging up the rest of Holden and Audra's awful story. Across town, Nick Newman will step up to shield Sharon from whatever Matt might throw at them. Will Nick and Sharon ultimately live together so he can ensure her safety? While Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra make some last-minute launch party preparations, Victor will move forward with his attack on Jabot and Jack Abbott. However, Victor may hit a roadblock since the Abbotts have been busy moving assets and taking the company offline. Will Jack successfully thwart Victor's AI program threat for now? At the coffee house, Kane will push Lily to take him as her date for the launch bash. After finding out Kane is out for revenge on Phyllis Summers, that could contribute to Lily's new point of view. Lily will indeed change her mind about Kane, so she might show up to the launch event with him. Since Phyllis will be attending too, this should give her the perfect chance to get under Kane's skin. Afterward, Nate Hastings will open up to Lily, so stay tuned for updates on any love life news he might share. Victor Newman's attack will move forward while Lily Winters changes her mind about Kane Ashby, setting off a chain reaction that ricochets through Genoa City like a storm warning no one paid enough attention to. As the Newmans finally head home, emotionally bruised, physically strained, and spiritually exhausted, Matt Clark aka Mitch Bacall watches them with eyes full of calculation, already working out the angles of the next phase of his scheme. Matt isn't the type to strike impulsively, his mind churns like a silent machine, generating plans within plans. By the time he slips into the shadows of the night, he's resolved to score some leverage in a way the Newmans won't anticipate, a move so subtle yet devastating that even Victor himself might blink twice before realizing just how thoroughly Matt infiltrated their defenses. Meanwhile, after pacing her room for hours and struggling with every fractured memory tied to Noah Newman, Sienna Bacall makes a life-changing decision. Accepting Noah's offer of protection in Genoa City isn't something she does lightly. She knows every step she takes is influenced by Mitch's manipulations as well as her own longing to escape the labyrinth of lies she's been trapped in. But she needs safety, stability, and someone who genuinely cares whether she lives or dies, and Noah Newman has been offering exactly that, without hesitation, without judgment, without force. When Sienna finally tells Noah she'll accept his protection, Noah feels a cautious wave of hope wash over him, but he also senses the darkness trailing behind her like a phantom. Sienna's decision immediately leaves Sharon Newman on edge, stirring maternal instincts that have been sharpened by years of trauma, loss, and battles fought in silence. Sharon isn't naive, and she's certainly not complacent when it comes to anyone who enters her son's life during a turbulent chapter. As she watches Sienna settle into her new environment, Sharon quietly studies her, every nervous twitch, every pause before answering a question, every flick of her gaze to ensure no unseen danger lurks nearby. Eventually, Sharon confronts Sienna in that gentle yet piercing tone she reserves for moments when she wants the truth without pushing someone over the edge. She questions Sienna about her true motives when it comes to Noah, genuinely torn between compassion and caution. Sienna tries to reassure her, insisting she isn't there to manipulate Noah, hurt him, or drag him deeper into her twisted history. But Sharon's suspicion doesn't melt away so easily. She senses Sienna's hiding something monumental, something that could shatter Noah all over again. The tension between these two women simmers beneath every interaction, a quiet battle of intentions waiting to erupt. AUDRA'S December 9th episode will also bring some 20th wedding anniversary surprises for Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, who has no idea what Michael Baldwin has cooked up for her behind the scenes. Their relationship, which has survived temptation, betrayal, danger, illness, and countless storms, now arrives at a milestone that deserves more than flowers and champagne. Michael knows this, which is why he pours his entire heart into orchestrating a night that reminds Lauren of every reason she fell in love with him. While Lauren prepares for what she believes will be a simple, elegant evening, Michael works covertly to gather memories, videos, messages from old friends, and possibly a vow renewal surprise that will bring her to tears. For a moment, amid all the chaos swirling around Genoa City, Michael and Lauren get to be the emotional centerpiece of love, longevity, and loyalty, a living reminder that not every couple burns out under pressure. Yet even their celebration will be brushed by the tensions in town, because trouble doesn't wait politely outside the ballroom. Elsewhere, Noah Newman finds himself caught off guard when he unexpectedly runs into AUDRA''s. The air crackles with awkwardness before either of them speaks. Their history is too complicated, too sharp to slip into casual small talk. Noah stiffens instinctively, unsure whether AUDRA'S presence is another cruel twist of fate or a targeted attempt to unsettle him. AUDRA quickly assures him she isn't there to stir the pot or reopen old wounds. She insists she's genuinely glad he's okay after his ordeal, and though her tone is sincere, her eyes flicker with guilt, maybe even regret. Their interaction is civil, bittersweet, and drenched in emotion neither of them fully expresses. Once they part ways, AUDRA is left shaken, and that emotional rawness pushes her toward a decision she's been putting off. Later, AUDRA reaches an agreement with Holden Novak, an alliance forged not out of trust but necessity. They've both done things they'd rather the world never discover, and Claire Newman is getting far too close to the truth. After months of scheming, manipulating, and evading consequences, AUDRA and Holden finally realize they may need to work together if they want to stop Claire from digging up the rest of their awful story. Their partnership is uneasy, fragile, and only held together by the shared fear of exposure. Each of them suspects the other might betray them the moment it becomes convenient. But for now, this uneasy truce becomes the thin thread preventing Claire from unraveling everything they've hidden. Across town, Nick Newman steps up to shield Sharon from whatever revenge Matt might throw at them next. Nick's protective instincts roar to life the moment he realizes Sharon might once again be in danger because of Noah's involvement with SIENNA. Whether it's standing guard at her door, installing new security protocols, or coordinating with Victor's security team, Nick is determined to make sure Sharon doesn't face this threat alone. Their bond, deep, long-lasting, incredibly complicated, surges to the forefront again. Sharon feels both guilty and grateful, especially when Nick starts suggesting they live together so he can ensure her safety. The question hangs between them, heavy with history, unresolved feelings, and the possibility of something rekindling. Sharon hesitates, not because she doubts Nick's intentions, but because she fears what moving in together might stir up, emotionally, romantically, and psychologically, for both of them. While Nick watches over Sharon, Billy Abbott and Sally Spector dive into last-minute launch party preparations. Their upcoming event promises innovation, glamour, and the unveiling of ideas they hope will redefine their careers. But the excitement is overshadowed by a growing threat, Victor Newman. Determined to strike Jabot and Jack Abbott where it hurts most, Victor activates the next stage of his attack. He's ready to unleash a dangerous AI program designed to sabotage Jabot's infrastructure, disrupt operations, and expose vulnerabilities that Jack has been trying to bury. However, Victor hits a major roadblock. The Abbotts have been preparing for a counterstrike, quietly moving assets, shutting down servers, rerouting information, and taking the entire company offline before Victor can worm his way inside. The normally calm Jack Abbott has been operating with fierce determination, refusing to let Victor tear down everything John Abbott built. Will Jack successfully thwart Victor's AI threat, for now? Perhaps. But Victor is not the type to surrender to obstacles. He regroups quickly, and his next attack will be even more calculated. Back at the coffee house, Kane Ashby turns his attention to Lily Winters, pushing harder than ever to convince her to take him as her date for the launch bash. Kane is charming, persistent, and strategic, but also emotionally volatile as he continues plotting revenge against Phyllis Summers. Lily listens carefully, and for the first time in a long while, she begins seeing Kane through a new lens. All her old wounds reopen the moment she learns Kane is out for revenge on Phyllis. The man standing in front of her still harbors deep anger, resentment, and a willingness to lash out that reminds Lily of why she walked away in the first place. Yet somehow, this revelation also softens her. She sees a man hurting, desperate, cornered by the chaos he helped create. Against her better judgment, Lily's perspective begins to shift. Lily indeed changes her mind about Kane, surprising even herself with the decision to show up to the launch event with him. It isn't romance, not yet, but it's a moment of emotional vulnerability, a willingness to let an old chapter reopen just enough for healing or destruction. And since Phyllis will be attending as well, the tension skyrockets. Lily knows her presence beside Kane will be the perfect way to get under Phyllis's skin, and she doesn't deny that part of her enjoys the idea more than she should. She prepares herself for fireworks, knowing that Phyllis never attends a public event without turning at least one moment into a headline-worthy scandal. After the launch, Nate Hastings pulls Lily aside, finally ready to open up to her about the complications brewing in his own love life. The confession is raw, honest, and timed perfectly to clash with the emotional turmoil she's already navigating. Nate's news doesn't just catch Lily off guard, it forces her to confront what she truly wants, who she trusts, and where her future might be heading. As she listens to Nate, Kane battles jealousy from across the room, and Phyllis shoots daggers with her eyes the moment she spots them talking. The entire night becomes an emotional minefield, layered with old wounds, buried resentments, new threats, and unexpected alliances. And through it all, Victor Newman's attack looms like a storm cloud, gaining strength with every passing second. By the time the episode closes, nearly every character in Genoa City finds themselves entangled in secrets, suspicions, and shifting loyalties. Victor's war isn't over, Sienna's danger has only just begun, Lily's heart is pulled in two directions, and the alliances formed tonight will either save them, or destroy them, before the dust settles. The night only grows heavier as the launch party continues, and the emotional charge in the room becomes almost suffocating. Lily Winters stands frozen for a moment after Nate Hastings confesses the truth about his complicated love life, her breath catching in her throat as she tries to process the raw honesty he's extended to her. There's something in Nate's expression, an unspoken plea, a vulnerability he rarely lets anyone see, that pulls at her heart in a way she didn't expect. She had come here prepared for a night of business smiles, controlled chaos, and the simmering tension between Kane and Phyllis. What she never anticipated was being thrust into a crossroads moment that forces her to reevaluate everything she thought she knew about her past, her present, and the direction of her future. Nate's confession lingers like electricity in the air, and it shakes her to her core because deep down, she knows her feelings toward him have never fully disappeared. Even with everything happening around her, from Kane's revenge-fueled intensity to Victor's looming corporate war, Lily feels the tectonic plates of her personal life shifting again. But the moment is interrupted when Kane storms across the room, unable to contain the wave of jealousy and suspicion building inside him. His jaw clenches, his steps are sharp, and his eyes burn with barely controlled frustration as he approaches Lily and Nate. "Am I interrupting something?" Kane asks, his voice deceptively calm but carrying enough bite to cut through the music and chatter. Nate straightens, preparing himself for a confrontation he didn't intend to spark, while Lily steps forward with a soft but firm "Kane, stop." Yet Kane doesn't stop, not emotionally, not mentally, not strategically. Every insecurity inside him has been triggered, the fear of losing Lily again, the resentment toward anyone who might come between them, and the rage he's been stockpiling ever since his war with Phyllis began. What started as a seemingly small, emotional moment is now fueling a dangerous chain reaction neither Lily nor Nate anticipates. Across the room, Phyllis Summers watches the escalating tension between the trio with a smirk tugging at the corner of her lips. She can sense Alex-style drama from a mile away, and tonight, she's perfectly content to be the spark that turns Kane's world upside down. Phyllis knows Kane wants revenge, knows he's spiraling, and knows he's vulnerable enough to react emotionally to even the slightest provocation. She lifts her glass and whispers to herself, "Let the games begin," before stepping forward like a predator approaching fresh prey. Every movement she makes is calculated, deliberate, slow, and dripping with venomous confidence. Meanwhile, Victor Newman's attack continues advancing within the shadows of the corporate underworld, far removed from the glitz and shine of the launch party but impacting every moment, every decision, and every breath Jack Abbott takes. Even though the Abbotts moved fast to shut their systems down, Victor's first blow wasn't meant to destroy, it was meant to test their defenses. And now that he knows how they react, he's already preparing the second strike, one they won't see coming. At the ranch, Victor stands before a wall of screens, watching algorithms shift and tracking where Jabot's vulnerabilities lie. He's calmer now, colder, more dangerous than ever, because this isn't just about business. This is about principle. This is about legacy. This is about reminding Jack that the Newman Empire does not bend, does not retreat, and does not waver, not even when the opposition thinks it's outsmarted him. Back at the launch, Billy Abbott can feel the tension in the room, even as he works the crowd with Sally Spectra at his side. Sally senses something is off too. She can see the tightness in Billy's jaw and the flicker of worry in his expression each time he checks his phone for updates from Jabot security. The two exchange a quiet glance, unspoken fear dancing in the space between them. Sally whispers, "Are we still good? Is everything secure?" Billy forces a smile, but the facade cracks. "For now," he mutters, and Sally hears the unspoken meaning beneath those two words, Victor isn't done. They both know tonight's launch might be the last moment of calm before hell breaks loose. Across Genoa City, Nick Newman continues reinforcing Sharon's safety with a determination bordering on obsession. After their earlier conversation, Sharon agreed, reluctantly, to let Nick stay with her for the time being. Not permanently. Not romantically. Just for protection. But even that small concession stirs old memories they'd both tried so hard to compartmentalize. Nick walks through her home like he never left, checking windows, reinforcing locks, and updating security systems with the ease of a man who knows every corner, every room, every piece of her life. Sharon watches him carefully, torn between gratitude and the fear that their renewed closeness will complicate her already chaotic emotional landscape. Part of her aches for the familiarity of what they once had, but another part knows reopening that door could reignite emotions she isn't ready to face. Still, when Nick places his hand on hers and promises he won't let anything happen to her, Sharon feels a shiver of reassurance, and something painfully close to longing. Meanwhile, Sienna Bacall tries her best to settle into the temporary safe space Noah has offered her. But safety is a foreign concept to her. She spends hours staring at the doorway, flinching at sudden noises, pressing her hands together in desperate attempts to stop them from trembling. Noah keeps checking on her, offering tea, blankets, gentle conversation, but every time he steps into the room, she feels both comforted and terrified. He asks her if she's okay, if she needs anything, if she wants to talk. And each time, Sienna gives him a quiet nod while hiding the truth she's been too afraid to reveal, that Mitch's control over her runs deeper than anyone realizes. That she may have brought more danger to Noah's doorstep than she intended. That someone connected to Mitch may already be watching. Sienna doesn't tell him about the strange car she spotted outside earlier, or the anonymous text she received the moment she agreed to Noah's protection. "You made the wrong choice." The threat hangs over her like a storm cloud, and Sienna begins to fear that by accepting Noah's help, she may have doomed him. Back at the launch, everything begins spiraling toward chaos when Phyllis finally inserts herself into the tension triangle with a slow, confident stride. The energy in the room shifts as she approaches Kane, Lily, and Nate. Her smile is bright and venomous, her eyes sharp and mocking. "Well, isn't this cozy?" she purrs. Kane stiffens instantly, his anger bubbling dangerously close to the surface. Lily steps between them, trying to de-escalate before it becomes a scene, but Phyllis leans forward, taunting Kane with a quiet whisper only he can hear. "Still obsessed with me, I see. You should have walked away when you had the chance." The words slice through Kane like a blade, and he snaps. His voice rises, loud enough for nearby guests to hear, and Lily grabs his arm to pull him back before he says something he can't take back.